Hello, friends. This is Natalie Hoffman with FlyingFreeNow.com. And today I'm going to answer a question. The question is this: why do pastors and elders and small group leaders and other religious leaders support abusers typically? I'm not talking about 100% across the board, but why do they, generally speaking, support abusive husbands and they don't support the abused wives? Why is that? This is a question that I have wrestled with for years, and I actually talk about it in my book, Is It Me Making Sense of Your Confusing Marriage? And I think there are three reasons why this dynamic is at play in the Christian modern church today. First of all, they both have the same agenda. All right, their agenda, your agenda as a victim is safety and sanity, right? Their agenda is to save the marriage for two different reasons though. Okay. They have the same agenda, but two totally different reasons. The pastors and the elders, their agenda is to save the marriage because they believe that the marriage represents the relationship between Christ and the church, and you made vows, and this is a matter of the glory of God, right? Whereas the abuser wants to save the marriage because, think about it, an abusive individual is all about power and control. So if his partner gets away, he's not going to have power and control over her anymore. And so he wants to save the marriage for that reason. But all he has to do, he doesn't go and tell the elders, well, I got to save my marriage because I want power and control. You know, this woman belongs to me. She's my personal property. These children belong to me. That's their mentality, but they're not communicating that to the church people. Why would they do that? They'd be shooting themselves in the foot. All they're saying is, yeah, I really want to save my marriage. I've completely changed. I've turned over a new leaf. And this is what the pastors and the religious people want to hear. Yes, this guy gets it. He wants to save his marriage. And so because they have the same agenda, they're going to push for that agenda. Now, the woman is actually at odds not only with her abusive partner, but now she's at odds with the very people that she has reached out to help her. The second reason that religious people tend to support the abuser and not the woman is because they've been groomed. Okay? The abuser has groomed them to believe that he is an amazeballs guy. All right? He's the guy behind the scenes helping to set up the church equipment. He's the guy teaching Sunday school. He's the guy leading a small group. He's the guy picking up all of the equipment after the church activity. I'm not thinking clearly right now. He's the guy that's behind the scenes helping and contributing and serving. And I mean, he might even be the guy that's the pastor, or he could be the worship leader. But the point is that he appears to be a wonderful human being. And because she has been a dutiful Christian woman who has not wanted to throw her husband under the bus for many, many years, she has instead been praying in her prayer closet for him to change. She's not been sharing anything about him because she wants to protect his reputation. Now, all of a sudden, she comes forward. This is very, very difficult for people who have not watched what's unfolded behind closed doors to wrap their brain around. Now they're going, well, wait a minute here. Well, you've been lying this whole time. You've been covering. I mean, if you're telling the truth right now, then that means you've been lying before. And if you were not lying before and you were telling the truth, then you're lying now. She's in a lose-lose situation. All right. And in the meantime, her husband is appearing to be, actually what he does is he plays the victim role. And he'll say, oh my word, you wouldn't believe how difficult it is to live with this woman. She is she's like a dripping faucet. She's constantly shutting me down, cutting me down and shutting me out. She doesn't listen to anything that I say. I say I'm sorry over and over again, and she never believes me. She's really bitter. She's always so angry all the time. And this kind of plays into their idea of, the whole Adam and Eve thing, and Eve is the one who tripped Adam up and made him fall. And there's a whole theology behind this, which I go into detail about in my book and explain how this all fits together. It's like all the puzzle pieces just come together. It creates the perfect storm for a woman of faith who's trying to get help for her abusive relationship. All right, so they've been groomed. So the first reason is that they both, the abuser and the church elders, have the same agenda to save the marriage, but for different reasons. The second reason is that the church elders have been groomed by the abuser to buy into the abuser's story. And the third reason that religious leaders tend to believe the abuser rather than the woman is because they often identify with the abuser, all right? And so they naturally feel defensive. There are a lot, we think, oh, well, my husband must be the only one who's got problems. No, there's a lot of guys out there. And I don't know if you know this, but narcissists, a pastoral role or religious leader is actually one of the top jobs that narcissists tend to go for. So you're going to find a lot of narcissists in these roles because they can do what they do, and they can do it without any repercussions. They can do it with the blessing of God. All right, especially if they're coming from a theology that teaches that women are less than men. I mean, we pay lip service to the fact that no, men and women are equal, but they have different roles. Women are in these roles that are way down here, and men are in these roles that are way up here. Basically, it's okay for men to have power and control over women because the Bible says that there's different roles, which the Bible doesn't actually say that, by the way, but this is what they teach. So, anyway, these religious people or religious leaders will feel defensive, and they'll automatically project all of their own ideology and maybe even the way their own wives are treating them at home. Maybe their wives are at home saying, trying to help them to be kinder and hoping that they would be a better listener, and saying, why can't we talk about things and resolve things? Maybe that's happening in their homes. And so when they see this coming out in a conversation between another couple, they're going to identify with the abuser in that relationship. They're not going to identify with the woman. All right. I've watched this play out in my own life. I've watched this play out in my own, with the people that worked with me and ultimately excommunicated me, not just mine, but then I turned around and watched this play out in the lives of literally hundreds of women. Okay, so this is a very, very common phenomenon. You can raise your hand if this has happened to you. I'd also, this is a public page, so be careful. Be careful what you do on this page, because if you are still married and your husband is kind of tracking you, you want to be careful that you're, about what you say or how you comment. You can watch this page and do it, quietly and in secret. And that way you can still learn and you won't get into trouble for it. But, I want you to know that I do a deep dive course into spiritual abuse and this whole dynamic in the private Flying Free membership group. You guys, that group it's phenomenal. It's life-changing, and the price is going up at the end of this year. I've stated it's been the same for the last 2.5 years, but it's going up to $25 a month, January 1st. So if you hop on now, then you get locked in at the $20 a month price, and it never goes up for you. In fact, for all of the people that have been with me for a long time, their price goes down and down and down. So that's just what I do for people who stay with me long term, and they start giving to the community, and pretty soon they're real assets in that community, and they're helping other women as we all walk together through this whole process. So, all right, that's it for now. Fly free.